There is a moment in life when something changes quietly. You don't announce it. You don't post about it. You don't even explain it to anyone. It's the moment when you stop needing to be seen. Not because you failed, not because you're afraid, but because you've finally understood something most people never do. That attention is expensive. Validation is noisy. And proving yourself online slowly pulls you away from the life you're trying to build. This video is not about quitting social media. It's not about being anti-technology. And it's definitely not about being better than anyone else. This is about a quieter shift. The kind of shift that happens when people start reading different books. Books that don't impress others. Books that don't look good in photos. Books that don't make good captions. Books that help them build something private, steady, and real. If you've ever felt tired of explaining yourself, if you've ever felt allergic to noise, if you've ever felt that your best thinking happens when nobody is watching, then these books will feel familiar. Before people change what they read, they change how they measure success. When someone still needs approval, they read books that sound impressive. When someone is still competing, they read books that signal intelligence. But when that need fades, the reading changes. One book that captures this internal shift beautifully is The 15 Senses of the Quiet Rich. This isn't a book about money in a loud sense. It doesn't teach flexing. It doesn't glorify hustle. It talks about something far rarer: inner stability. People who no longer need to prove anything usually develop a few quiet traits: a sense of enough, a sense of time, a sense of rhythm, and a sense of self that doesn't shake easily. They don't read to win arguments. They read to stabilize their inner world. That's why their reading list feels calm. It's almost boring to outsiders. But boring is a luxury. People who don't prove themselves online still think about money. They just think about it differently. They don't chase fast wins. They don't post screenshots. They don't confuse attention with progress. A book many of them quietly return to is The Psychology of Money. Not because it's trendy, but because it reminds them that behavior matters more than brilliance. Another book that often sits nearby is Poor Charlie's Almanack. Not for quotes, not for posting wisdom, but for thinking slowly, rationally, and patiently while everyone else rushes. Quiet people don't want money that shouts. They want money that stays. There's a big difference between thinking and performing thinking. Online culture rewards performance, short opinions, fast takes, certainty, but deep readers don't rush clarity. That's why many of them read thinking, fast and slow. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because it humbles them. It teaches them that intuition is unreliable, confidence is dangerous, and slowing down is a skill. Alongside it, you often find the Almanack of Naval Ravikant. Not for motivation, but for perspective. Naval talks about wealth, leverage, and freedom, but always with restraint. No urgency, no noise. Quiet readers appreciate that tone. Eventually, something else happens. People who read this way start thinking in longer timelines: years, decades, generations. At that point, social media starts feeling irrelevant. That's where books like DNA of Wealth quietly enter the picture. Not as a finance guide, but as a reminder that wealth was never meant to be loud. The book talks about civilizations, families, and systems that lasted because they valued discipline over display, silence over storytelling, and structure over speed. People who resonate with this stop asking, "How do I look?" They start asking, "What will still be standing when I'm gone?" That question doesn't get many likes, but it builds real things. For quiet people, reading is not entertainment. It's training. That's why many of them still read The Intelligent Investor. Not because it's exciting, but because it teaches restraint. It teaches patience, margin of safety, long-term thinking. And surprisingly, many of them also read Meditations, not as philosophy, but as grounding. A reminder that ego is temporary, Attention fades and character lasts. These books don't help you win online. They help you not lose yourself. Quiet readers rarely read in public, not because they're secretive, but because they don't need witnesses. Reading for them is where identity stabilizes. They don't quote. They don't summarize. They absorb. They underline sentences that remind them to slow down, to stop chasing, to stop explaining. They don't read to become someone. They read to remain themselves. That's why their shelves don't look impressive, but their decisions do. The most interesting thing about people who read like this is how calm they become. They stop reacting. They stop arguing. They stop defending choices that don't need defense. Their confidence becomes quiet. They don't announce wins. They don't post struggles. They don't ask for permission to live their lives. You won't see their progress online, but you'll feel it in how they speak less, in how they move slower, in how they don't rush to explain. This is the real effect of these books, not knowledge, but composure. If you found yourself nodding during this video, it probably means something simple. You're not disappearing. You're consolidating. You're not antisocial. You're selective. You're not behind. You're building quietly. And the books you're drawn to now are not for proving anything. They're for staying whole in a loud world. If this video felt familiar, you're not alone. There are many quiet readers out there. They just don't announce themselves. Thank you for watching. Follow Sethtra Books for more content on reading in silence and building in private.